Hey there, it's Lee, and I'm here with Renee Rose, and we are plotting our next book in our bad boy alpha world. And I've already texted you a bunch
Yeah.
about this. I even started typing out from Esme's point of view. It might be better to start with his point of view. And I I know she's a thief and he's a vampire, so I just put that in the title.
I'm gonna change the word count because these are longer books. They're usually like 75, right?
Yeah. So if you're watching this, we use a beat sheet from Gwen Hay's Romancing the Beats. And what's really fun is this has become a shared language for us. So if we're kind of mulling something over, you'll go, well, when's the false high? Is this the false high? And I'll know exactly what you're talking about. And I I remember reading one of your books, Punishing Portia, and I go, this book is perfect. I think it just hits the beats so satisfyingly. And that's when we really started to get serious about
I
using.
think it was like after I read Romancing the Beat. I think Punishing Portia was accidental. Like I had just because we read so much, right? We're readers first. We know, like, and you as readers, there's a reason a book is satisfying, and it's because it follows these. It's like every movie has, and when it doesn't hit the beats, it hits differently. And sometimes that can be used for artistic impact, like in a movie that's like totally different, like where like in Ferris Bueller, where like the main character doesn't have an arc, he stays flat and everyone arcs around him. Like it's used as like a way to be different. But a lot of times it's just an accident that it doesn't, it's like it just falls flat and you're not satisfied. And so before I was like, a lot of times I would hit them and sometimes I fell flat. And then until I read that book, as soon as I read that book and I made sure that every book had that, that's when people started like the comments were like perfect, like I could really tell by the feedback that I was onto something. And I think it was while we were reading the book that you were like, "Oh, look, you did it right here with Punishing Portia," like because we were kind of analyzing. And but there's definitely like a lot you could point to where I had missed.
Same. And in the book, she says you can reorganize these beats. Obviously, we're writing longer books now, so some of the beats return or they're longer. And I remember our friend Jane Henry talking about in Dark Romance, in a very long book, she made sure the false high was there several scenes long, like really, really satisfying. But the characters are still in their wound and believing a lie. So their happiness is false. It's not quite there yet.
Right.
And I
Um,
remember our small press, we were reading other people's books, and you said about a very talented author whom we love that it was something about the black moment wasn't quite there. And it was like,
oh yeah, totally. She always missed it. Like it was no, it was I think I know it. I think I if I know who you're talking about. So in just like straight BDSM fiction, it's often like just baked in. But it was like when this author was writing not BDSM, it was harder for her to find the right beats. Like she was missing them. It was an interesting and she was such a good writer. So we were just like, huh, these fall flat. Like what? And it is that like it's the lack of beats.
yeah, and it was something about she needs a real dark night of the soul, like a real crash. Like this is not working. Our
Yeah.
lies, our wounds are fully revealed. Our lie is staring us in the face. We have to change. And then the return to like we can figure this out. Let's go towards our happy ending. It was something like you need it to be so low that
Right.
the ascent.
If you skip one of these beats, even if it's just the Dark Night of the Soul, because it's like usually that's pretty short, but like you need that to have the satisfaction of the grand gesture where they get back together. Like you need that, like, all is lost. All is lost, And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
ta-da, you know.
If you don't if you don't have it, it's almost like you're kind of rolling to the end versus this roller coaster that's very satisfying to finish.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, because again, you can reorder the beats and you got these two people on page And maybe for 100 pages, they're dancing around each other and they're like going back and forth. And she calls it a caduceus, like the snake around
Mm.
the staff.
Yeah, yeah,
So they're
yeah.
coming in and out. So I write with tempos. So I have some ideas of scenes, especially my full cast scenes, which I love the silly. So we're gonna have a shifter circus, and I do want a crazy chase around a rotary, like a roundabout, where they're like flying off the circus bus and they're like hanging on, and there's a tiger running after them. I don't know, something nuts.
I love it.
And also, we want to set up future books for Sully, the hero, our dark, silent type, strong, silent type, and Nickel, the werewolf duke, and kind of set them up. And I'm also not fussed over who Esme ends up with. I was thinking it would be fun if it was Thaddeus, the vampire king of Manhattan, whom we set up in a later book or a past book. But it doesn't have to be. But I did. Okay, so meet cute. She's breaking in to get the MacGuffin, which is this dragon scepter, but owned by Gabriel Dieter, who's from one of our other books. He's a dragon. He woke up and he goes, "Where's my stuff? Someone broke in and took some of my dragon's hoard." Obviously, he's going to go on a rampage to get it back. And his mate Tabitha is human and is like, "You can't kill anyone," but he is breathing down everyone's neck, going, "I am going to kill you if you don't give it back." So Esme is like, "My family took it generations ago." She comes from a family of French thieves. They like swindle the aristocracy for just years, and she has a type of psychic ability that is psychometry or token object reading or psychoscopy. And I was reading a book on psychic stuff and I thought this would be cool. She's grown up in this family and they own this like junk antique shop, but she knows what's the real thing in there, right? Like so much of it is fake, like made in China, because they're swindlers.
Right.
But she actually has an affinity and can touch things and get their history. And I thought that would be interesting because Thaddeus is like 1,000-year-old vampire and he is an old object, maybe, or he has a lot of them. And I thought that would be fun to play with. So she's psychic, witchy. I think her sister's even more witchy, and we can have some witches showing up. And she's breaking in, and he lives above the sex club. And he's like, "I thought I was going to have to go and find my entertainment, but you came just to me." And he's shirtless and he's lounging in the firelight with a goblet of what looks like very dark red wine, of course. And she's stuck upside down because she broke into the skylight, and then his traps caught her like a web. But then her personal wards on her body started to repel them. And I know we're probably running out of time though. So
I love it. I love it.
that's the opening scene. Her goal is to get away, obviously, before his wards eat through hers. And he wants to keep her trapped and feed on her or something.
Mm.
And I think that maybe she's wearing something so we can't see her face, but either she's able to get free, grab the scepter, but he tags her somehow with his aura or some sort of magical thing that now he can stalk her and visit her in her dreams, but
Ooh.
trap her and make her think that they're real. And of course, it's going to be sexy times in the dreams.
Right.
Or she doesn't get the scepter and she has to like go undercover to the sex club. But at some point, she does get the scepter, the MacGuffin, and then she's on the run from Thaddeus. And that's how I think she's bumping into Hugo the Ghost Wolf, Nickel, possibly, and then ends up hiding out with the Shifter Circus. And we also meet her family, and she has a bunch of silly great aunts who are all like centuries years old, and they all drank a magical potion to make them beautiful. But I don't know, like it messed up or something. It made them immortal, but they're all very fun though. I want to name them all, um, really older names that are archaic, but and all these ladies could be getting books. We'll see. So there's a full cast of characters I see, and she's got her grifter parents and her witchy sister, and then her great aunts who are like, "Well, you must run from the vampire, but oh, you might want to have an affair with him because I remember my day." I don't know. It'll be fun. So, that's that was kind of my meet cute idea. I think it would be good if she maybe had to go back to the club and he like has it on display to be like, I'm luring the thief back in. But I mean, he has a sex club. We have to put that front and center. And the dragon is threatening to kill her whole family if she doesn't get this back to him. So that's the ticking time clock. But then Thaddeus is like, the more I visit you, like every night I can visit you, and the more I do, the more I can become corporeal or something. I don't know. Magic, magic, magic. That's what I got.
How do you spell MacGuffin like that?
Oh, I'm calling it the dragon scepter. Where's MacGuffin? I don't see. Where is it in the? Yeah, the dragon scepter back. Perfect. Yes. Yeah.
Scepter.
So I actually opened with her like hanging upside down and they're bantering. But it could be interesting to open with his POV, obviously. So I just wanted to get that scene out of my head.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing is like traditionally, very traditionally, it'd be like one chapter of her showing her and her problem, one chapter of him showing him and his problem, then the meet cute. A lot of times, romances will go straight to the meet cute. Like Lee was picturing it straight with the meet cute.
And then we learn, we do get an introduction of her because she escapes, she gets back to her house. She has to tell her family like, "Oh, I got the scepter, but now I have to return it to the dragon, but the vampire tagged me, or he might be following me." Or she's saying, "I didn't get it, I have to go back." And she's like, "The dragon will kill us if we don't get it, but I also got to make sure the vampire can't track me back to here because
Right.
then he'll also kill us all." And then she gets a
So
lot of unsolicited advice from the aunts.
what, so her wound is I can't have love because
That's a good question. So she's the fixer in her family. Like that's why she's doing all of this. And she doesn't want to be a thief, but she ends up. That's not true though, because in the last book she was having a ton of fun being a thief. She wants to be an honorable thief. How's that?
I mean maybe she can't have love because she's too flighty. Like she doesn't stick anywhere. She's right, like she's the
Yeah.
like bounce all over the world stealing things. She can't have like a two cats in a yard, like
Yeah. There could be a wound of like, I'm not normal. Look at my family.
yeah,
And also she has this psychic ability that keeps her kind of isolated, maybe.
I don't stick. And yeah, and maybe there's a little bit of that defensiveness, like who would want this me and my crazy family anyway? Like,
Yeah, I think I'm a weirdo too. Like
yeah,
she was showing up as like this very confident, brash mouth,
right.
fun character. But I do think that Hugo the Ghost Wolf also somehow is showing up for her because I don't know, her affinity for old objects somehow. And he's like, you can help me know who I am, maybe. Um, but if that complicates things, we don't have to add him in. I just saw her like in the center of all these guys who like her, like pulling her in different directions, and she's like, ah, but
And
has
then what would this is weird, but like let's see. What's his wound? Why he can't have love? Because he's a vampire.
yeah, something like I'm a monster and everyone I love dies, and his tastes are pretty extreme.
Yes.
I do think there's gonna be like a I need to distract him, so I'll seduce him. I love that.
That's
I
her.
I think that could be a thought in her head at some point. If he's showing up, she's like, "Oh, I can't, I can't let him notice any details about my room or like my family's house. I need to keep him." In the beginning, she says, I need to keep him curious. Like if I can be entertaining enough, he might let me live. So, I know that that has nothing to do with her wound, but
No, no, that's yeah, that's our act
just
two.
throwing out stuff.
Um,
So I do think once she grits the scepter, so maybe there's like an open house and it's he's like putting the scepter on display and she's like, obviously he's trying to lure me in, but maybe I can disguise myself enough to go in. And she uses magic, maybe. But of course, he chooses her, they scene together, and oh, what if his wound is all my lovers betrayed me? Like
that's
he was
good.
he was in love with like the vampire slayer's daughter and the vampire slayer like put poison in her blood and she dies in front of him. So I also was thinking, and I was gonna do this in a dark romance of mine that's kind of Wuthering Heights gothic, but we could just do it here or I could do it both places. It would be fun if she was a reincarnation.
Oh yeah, I mean we did that in His Captive Mortal. It's a very common theme in vampire
It is
novels.
very common in vampire lore. I just watched the new Dracula and I was like, this is so close to being a love story. And then they, of course, they were like, nope, can't have it. Kill them both. But she was reincarnated and he waited for her for centuries and then he just shows up and oh god, the longing was so good. So I'm throwing that out. She could be the reincarnated, soul of the daughter, like his soulmate, who was the daughter of a vampire slayer. So I don't know.
Yeah. Um, One thing I also love to always put in each book is like what does she help him with and what does he help her with as part of like the building trust. Um,
So if her psychic abilities overwhelm her, he could help her maybe manage them, manage her powers. I don't know how, but I like sexy lessons, so just throwing that out there. Um, she's just a delight. She's just a foul-mouthed delight. So she's adding novelty and fun to his life.
mm,
The shifter circus comes when she escapes. So maybe they have like one night of passion and then she steals the scepter and escapes. And she goes to Europe to the Italian countryside where this roaming shifter circus is, and the squirrel shifters are the trapeze artists and or the flying squirrels shifters. And there's a swan shifter who's like a beautiful dancer. And I think there's actually a trapped shifter. We don't know who he is, but he's like the strong man. And then at the end, she touches his armband and she realizes she knows where the key is, and it's with Thaddeus. So they all go back on a heist to get that key, and then it unlocks this trapped shifter, and he's a dragon, and then he grabs the swan shifter because she's his fated mate, and like skedaddles out, and that would be a fun short story for us to write.
whoa.
But again, like I just want a shifter circus real bad, so I kept thinking up plot ideas around that. Um, but I'm not entirely sure like when she'd go to Europe, but yeah, probably Falls High or a little before or something like that. I don't know how it would be a little before. But then when she goes back to steal from him again, maybe his magic is now strong enough he can overpower her, but she's like, I'm going to give myself to you in exchange for you letting my friends live. I don't know.
Um, I like that.
But then it's like she's still under duress. So at some point, she has to give the thing back to the dragon, too. Because I want Gabriella and Tabitha on page, our past couple from the Dragon Shifter book. This is usually how it goes. I'm like, I have all these wacky ideas and shenanigans, and you're like, okay, what's their wound and what's their arc?
What's the, I know I'm the emotional content
Where do they
girl.
land? Yeah.
Um, but and then yeah, and then what's the black moment? What is the um how do those wounds get poked? if he feels betrayals his.
She goes back to seduce him, but it's just to get the key.
Mm,
It could be. I don't know. It doesn't feel quite intense enough, but
um, or does she get rejected by him? Is there like, because he's been so intense on her this whole time, is there a moment where she suddenly is like, oh, I am too much? Um,
well, she might reveal like I actually came back to get this from you, but I'm falling in love with you. And then he's like, get out of here.
nope.
Not doing this again.
So she's vulnerable for the first time, which she never is, right?
No, never. She just keeps it moving. She's like a juggler. She just holds everything lightly. She really comes across as like wisecracking and fun in the last book, Big Bad Betrayal. But underneath all that, like she's not willing to let anyone see her like really who she is. She's taking care of her whole family. She's helping out her friends. She's helping everyone else. She really feels unworthy. I think that she was probably dumped in high school or something.
For sure. Or, she's just become, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
she's like, this is a defense, this whole wisecracking thing is like a defense mechanism because she's like, actually, when kids saw my family, I became the weirdo.
yeah, or like she touched something in someone's house and then she knew how that their grandma was murdered and then it's like
Mhm.
get out of here, weirdo.
Right. People think she's weird, totally.
Yeah, that
Um,
yeah, I like this the psychic ability and like what would that mean? Like she's maybe walking through this like junkyard antique shop trying not to touch anything and then when she touches something it's like calling to her like I need you to help me get back to the people I loved even though they're long dead. I don't know. I was going
yeah.
to research more of this just for fun like
Yeah. No, I did some sessions with like a Cherokee healer here, and he said in his childhood it was a problem. He was like 7. He didn't know not to say things about the women who were having tea at the house. And so and then it was really embarrassing to his mom.
because he's like, "Oh, why were
Yeah.
you with that man who wasn't your husband or
Or
whatever?"
whatever, whatever it was that he revealed. And then so he kind of um it was a little bewildering for him as a child to know to not know what he's not supposed to know. So, and definitely he was a weirdo, like he didn't other kids knew he was weird.
And I think Esme, even in her own family, feels like an outcast
Mm.
because, yeah, and she doesn't want to grift anyone, and they're all fine with it. I think even her witchy sister is like, people deserve to be swindled. She can have her own book. I'm excited. Um, I think she's the witch that shows up to help the Adderwolves. I don't know if we wrote that in. Did we write that into the end of Betrayal? There was a witch that showed up. Okay, that was in my
Mm-mm.
head.
Um,
So yeah, they're all like, yeah, we use our abilities to make money, and she's like trying to do good and make things right.
mm,
Like in the last book, she's like, let me return this to the people that it belongs to. So when she tries to do the right thing, it bites her in the ass again.
right. Ooh,
She's
that's
like,
good.
I just want to be upfront with you. I'm here because my friend needs this thing from your curio cabinet. And, uh, I'm taking advantage of you. And yeah,
Yeah, but that I actually like care. Um, so it seems like grand gesture should come from him, and she's really the one who got her heart smashed. I mean, his heart is smashed too, but
yeah. So at some point, she has to return the thing to Gabriel.
Yeah, let me move that. I put that. Okay.
I don't know where I don't know if he could be a threat or if she jaunts off to England where Nicole's family is. I don't know why she would be doing that. Maybe giving them back something. So he shows up to the werewolf ball and dances with her. I don't know.
Um, okay, I am just about out of time here, but I like the sketch. I think we got a good.
I think what we do is for me, it's like I have these tentpole scene ideas, which I also need to hold lightly, but we write into them, we discover more about their wound, and then of course that leads to how it pricks and then heals. So
Yeah, beautiful.
cool. Well, thanks for taking the time. This was fun.
Love it. Me
We'll
too.
see.
Thank you.
We'll have to do it again when we're like close to the end and like where did this book end up? But
That's a good idea. We should do a yeah, that's a great idea. I love that.
before and after. All right.
Totally.
Bye.
All right. See you later.